Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martyn Warwick. We're on the road, we're on location in Amsterdam at the RAI Exhibition Centre at Broadband World Forum 2014. And I'm pleased to be able to tell you I'm talking with Dr. Hugh Bradlow, Chief Scientist with Telstra Operations. Of course, Telstra is the incumbent Australian telco. Hugh, welcome.
Thank you.
You are a Chief Scientist, which is pretty impressive. I take it, when you get up in the morning, you go into the office in Melbourne. What do you think about first? Are you thinking about things in the future? Are you looking forward a year or two, 5 years, or what?
So my role is to look into the longer term future, and particularly the things that will be disruptive. So a lot of the things I'm going to look into will come to nothing because they are that longer term. But and the other part of the role, of course, is evangelizing that future and educating government about the importance of digital transformation. But at the moment, one of the things that's got me fascinated is our CEO wrote to me and said, "Can you give me a brief tutorial on quantum computing?" And I went, "Oh dear, I've got a PhD in nuclear physics, but I had to go and do some research." So I spent a whole week just reading up on quantum computing, and then that got me into the area of cognitive computing generally and some of the things that people are doing with synaptic chips. So I've now really become quite focused on these longer term computing futures, because I think in terms of this whole digital journey, both for us as a service provider but for the society more generally, it's going to have a profound impact. So
but some way down the road, I assume.
we could be talking 5 years for some things, we could be talking 20 years for some things. But
Indeed.
20 years is not a very long time, you think about it.
No, it is certainly isn't, certainly at my age.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so that's the long-term future you're looking at on a day-to-day basis. The technology that's out there now and the way that Telstra is developing and so on. What about that? What's the focus at the moment that's sort of concrete and real?
So our focus is, because we're such a broad service provider, our focus is quite multifaceted. And we, at the same time as we're trying to get more capability out of our mobile network, we're also looking at the future of service provision. And I tell everyone that this industry is about service provision. That's our core DNA. We just got a little distracted for 100 years by being a network operator, by having this one massive asset. But the future world where people are going to have, if you think about a health provider instrumenting their patients, they're going to need someone who's going to be able to do the network connectivity for them, and that's much more than just providing a network. It's ensuring that the patient is connected up, that the individuals are correctly activated, that the security of the data, that the reliability of the data. So there's a whole new world of service provision for things like the Internet of Things, but more generally, for TV services, for entertainment services, for unified communication services. And so we're looking across a wide range of capabilities in terms of what services we will provide.
Now you've got a nice brand new next generation network in Australia and lots of bandwidth to play with therefore as a result, I hope.
Well, the government is building out a fixed network, the national broadband network, but we've really pushed our mobile network hard. So we have, just to put it in context, we have 2.3 million square kilometers of coverage. That's 5.5 times the entire land mass of Germany. And that is entire coverage is HSPA plus. So, and then we have 85% population coverage with LTE. So we've got this highly capable mobile network, and it's really changed the way people think about using data and mobiles dramatically.
Australia is renowned for being a huge continent with the cities in the main dotted around the coast, east to west, a little bit up in the north, but a huge central area where there's little, and then lots and lots of rural towns 80, 90, 100 miles outside of the big cities that aren't that big but still need coverage.
Right.
Is there still a schism between rural coverage and city coverage, and if so, is it bridgeable?
Look, there's no doubt there's a difference, because you can't, the laws of physics dictate you can't do this, you just can't get the density in the rural area.
Yeah.
Bridgeable is a difficult question. We certainly can up through new technologies the capabilities of rural areas. I'm seeing longer term propositions around satellites, low Earth orbit satellites, which could make the whole thing entirely bridgeable. So I think I'm a technology optimist, and I think there are technologies that I'm seeing on the horizon, literally, that will bridge that gap. But it's not an overnight proposition.
No, indeed not. But we've seen many attempts at low Earth orbit systems. The only one that actually worked properly was Iridium, and of course that's now private and does a lot of stuff with security and the spooks in Langley, Virginia, and that kind of thing. So it's
it's more Neo than Leo. Actually.
It is, yes, it is, but it's.
But I think a lot of these propositions, they're new generations of technology, and this is what I find fascinating about what I do. There's a game changer often with the technology. And I think there are a couple of game changers in the technology coming up, one of which is electronically steerable antennas, which make it much easier to do LEO systems, and can be mass produced cheaply. So I think that there are huge opportunities in this space, despite the lessons of the past.
Well, let's talk about the near future, Hugh, if we might. You're future focused. I'd like to talk about the connected home, the Internet of Things you mentioned. The connected home and the sort of quality of service we can expect when the home is connected. Now, recent analyst projections are that by 2020 there'll be a minimum of 26 billion units, things, in the Internet of Things.
Right.
And to be able to facilitate that, of course, we have the cloud, we have the new technologies, new network technologies on the fixed side, like SDN and NFV, and to some extent in the mobile as well.
Right.
And they're facilitating, hopefully, a pretty near future where things will be completely different. Network will be transformed.
Right.
So, what about the Internet of Things? How important is it? How important do you think it is for Telstra?
I think for us it's very important. I mean, today you've got to distinguish between M2M, which to me is a device with a SIM in it, which is a biggish business for us already, and the Internet of Things, which is just connected devices. And my expectation is that roughly for every one SIM there'll be another 100 connected devices, because you need to use multiple radio systems, things like Zigbee, Z-Wave, DEC Dual for battery life and things like that. So I think one of the key requirements, if we move outside the home for a moment, think about smart cities. If you're a city and you want to provision your parking, your environmental sensors, you need to know you're going to be able to do coverage. And so we're going to have to start planning networks for these new radio systems based on gateways and adaption system, in the same way as we plan cellular systems. And I think we have the capability to do that and to deliver that coverage layer first of all. But then on top of that, there's all the data collection, there's the cloud aspect of it, being able to put that end-to-end thing so that the CIO of a city can concentrate on what problems he's going to solve for the citizens of that city, as opposed to how do I get all this data and make sure it's working and that I've got coverage where I need it and all those types of things. So I see a huge service provision opportunity across the board. Now, when you come into the home, this is where it becomes a bit more tangible, because everyone gets involved with it, because for example, we've got a trial going of a connected home, so I've got cameras in the house and I've got sensors that check doors opening and infrared and all those types of things. What consumers really want to know is how easy is it to connect these things up, and how reliable is it? If it doesn't catch the burglar in the act, it's a problem. So we again have a role to play in creating that service opportunity.
So what for you, Hugh, is the essence of a connected home? I mean, we know there are lots of applications, as you say, like turning the central heating on, burglar alarms and intruder alarms and so on, and the fridge is going to talk to the supermarket and order more milk for you, whatever it may be. But what, in essence, in terms of the technology as well as a commercial opportunity, is a connected home?
So from a technology perspective, this is it's a platform. I think of a connected home, a smart home, just forgetting about the video side of it for the moment, or the telephony side. Think about all those different use cases. I think of them as being like a smartphone. When you buy a smartphone and I buy a smartphone, we have different use cases, as we say, in mind.
Yeah.
And in the connected home is pretty much the same thing. I might want security, my neighbors might want energy control, someone else may want to watch their dog, someone else may want assisted living for their elderly parent,
Absolutely.
and so on. So I think the number of use cases, just like on the smartphone, will exponentiate into the thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions. I doubt that many, but it's hard to foresee.
Yeah.
So the platform that enables these new use cases, new devices, new content ecosystems, all to just come together in a way they do on a smartphone today, that's to me technically what a connected home is about.
Okay, now then, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. You said people want this and they want speed, they want to know it's reliable, they want to know about quality of service, they also want to know how much it's going to cost.
Yes.
What do you think that is going to be? I'm not talking in terms of the Australian dollar or the pound
Right.
or anything like that, but as a sort of percentage, as we have the bundles now, we know roughly how much you're going to pay a month. For example, I would say it's commonplace in England, in the UK, to pay £50-60 a month for,
Right.
for bundle services.
Yeah.
What about in terms of disposable income in the home? Is it going to be too expensive for people to afford?
No, I see this very much as a democratization of technology that has cost thousands of pounds to put in, and people, very rich people have put it in before.
Yeah.
And it's never been a platform, it's always been a system. I'm putting in a security system. So I think the platform access means that it'll get resonance with much wider audience. But I don't believe affordability is going to be the issue. So I'm guessing a sort of 20 to 40% increment on your existing broadband costs is the sort of order we're talking about. It's not 100% more or a tenfold increase. I think it's that type of opportunity.
And how far away is commercial deployment of these systems? We're just saying, not a system, but let's call it systems for the moment. How far away are they, do you think? Because for a long time we've heard about the connected home.
Yeah,
Unlike you, I've seen demos in places, and then you never see them in reality.
So there are operators who've deployed it. A couple of the North American operators have. From the trials that we've done, I think it's very close. It's ready for prime time. It's actually a very useful service, and I get a lot of personal value out of it. So I think we're talking a time frame of 1 to 3 years for widespread deployment. I think that probably there's another technology tick, the tick-tock of technology. There's probably another tick to go before you really get to that mass market democratization level. But we're close.
It's going to come.
Yeah.
Okay. In the past, I won't name any particular company or service provider, but certainly European, we'll put it like that, always said, this is the place to come to for everything, all your communication needs. We are the one-stop shop for everything. You don't need to think about anything else.
Right.
Come to us and we'll sort it all out. That was then, this is now.
Yeah.
The service providers have turned. They're not so happy about being locked into technology anymore, and they want, again, to have some more control over their own networks and the kit they put into it. So there's a lot of cooperation going on within this new ecosystem that's emerging that we didn't have before.
Yes.
Are you doing that in Telstra?
Yeah, absolutely. Our attitude is the customer choice is paramount, and so we're either there to provide them assistance and value, in which case they'll pay us, or we're there to get out of the way so that they can do what they want if we're not providing the assistance and value. So we talk to all the major OTT players, and we look for opportunities to partner with them. And if we can't find those opportunities, it just means they go ahead and do what they do, and we get out of their way.
Well, really fascinating stuff. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Indeed, Hugh Bradlow, thank you.